folks. Hope everyone is doing well. Hope you all had a nice weekend. Mine was great. So, yeah, new week. Now, the reason I picked this model, it's a new model pack. I think she's a fantastic model. Great proportions as usual. What we're going to focus a little bit on today is looking slightly from a down view. So for those of you who have access to the reference, you'll notice that a few of these poses have that orientation. I think it's a good exercise, and it just mixes it up a little. You know, we do a lot of kind of front on. So I think it's good to, and when I say front on, I mean camera pretty much front on, not that the poses are front on. So yeah, I think that this will be a good exercise. So let's get cracking. Welcome new members, by the way. For those of you who are new, if you go to the community chat, you will find a link to the reference. Okay, let me change cameras. Let me move this. Congratulations, Noah. That's awesome. It's quite different, huh? Quite different than working from reference. Let's start with a 15-ish. You know the drill. Maybe 15. Might go over a tiny bit. Let's see. And I'll start the clock. Let's get cracking. Oh, not that way. I really should move the timer button away from the camera change button. Okay, let's do this. So I'm looking for her shoulders, and we got a really on this pose. We've got this really kind of nice relationship between the upper and the lower torso, where we've kind of got this kind of shape going on. Just very loosely, this leg, her left leg, is going down this way to about here. That's going to go slightly off camera, isn't it? All right, there we go. This leg kind of coming down this way to about here, and then going down in this direction. That's great, Noah. Congratulations. Yeah, keep going. I think it's really useful to get in front of a live model. You know. Okay, iliac crest. It's going to be roughly about here. We can actually see this lovely kind of edge on the rib cage, just sitting in here. Then her neck is kind of going forward here. Her head is sitting about there, probably a bit bigger. Okay, we can see that center line down the front of the form. Let's pop the manubrium in right here. Clavicle going up this way. Head of the humerus is going to be about here. Then this arm is coming like so, kind of foreshortened forearm that's coming towards us, kind of sitting in here. And the fingers are going to be sitting roughly there. Just keep working with our stick figure for now. This hand sitting about here. Now obviously we've got a mass of hair which is obscuring our view of this shoulder, but we want to draw it. We want to understand where it is, right? So we know the pectoral's coming down this way. The breast is going to be sitting about here. The clavicle, come down for our pectoral, sitting about here. Mass of the breast is sitting in there. Okay. So we've got Just get a hint of the latissimus there. And coming down, rib cage sitting here. And we can see that oblique sitting about there. Okay. Iliac crest coming around to the asus. And we're coming kind of down like this, the asus on the other side. Something like that. Navel is sitting, as you know, halfway between the bottom of the rib cage and the top of the iliac crest. Come around the form, it's sitting about here. The oblique coming off the asus here. Starting to get more subdivisions. Tensor fascia latae, gluteus maximus. Our knee sitting about here. Just going to actually jump back up here. Want to establish this arm a little more. Deltoid. Triceps sitting in there. Her hair is sitting about so. Do you think I need to lower the head a little? I'm going to pull it down to about here. Anyway, we'll tweak all that when we get into our final line. Elise, welcome. You'll find a link to the reference in the membership or in the community chat. If you go to the community chat tab on my page, you'll find it right there. Okay. She is holding a stick with this hand. Not that it really affects us, but it kind of gives the composition a little bit more interest. Okay, I think I'm ready to hit this thing. How's the tea? Asks Noah. Fresh cup right there. I will get to that as soon as we get this drawing done. Okay, so we're coming in from the pubic bone here, coming up this way. And we can see a little bit there, a little bit of compression. I'm going to run up this way. It seems to me it's the line that I'd like to establish first. Now coming in, rib cage that way. Once again, her hair is actually coming down to about here, but I'm going to draw through as if I can see what's there. At least that part there. That should do it. I'll just keep this nice and simple. Okay, I'm going to come around the form now to this, and I actually want to thin her out ever so slightly, so I'm going to pull down this way just a little bit. So I'm going to pull the oblique into about here, coming in, rib cage, and then we'll just get a hint of the latissimus there, and that means now I can pull down here, and probably pull into about there. That feels proportionally a little bit better. I'll take it. Okay, coming down to the knee. Let's come around to the hamstrings here. All right, let's pop on some of this leg. And just for those of you who are kind of new to my process or the stream, there's no, to some degree, like there's always a conscious kind of thought process, to more or less, but there's no really hard and fast rule on when you're coming to the tie-down phase of the drawing of where you should start. A lot of it comes down to practicality. I tend to start over the right side of the form because I'm left-handed and I don't want to smudge the drawing. Or there might be a certain passage of the drawing which I want to get clarity on because it will help establish other things. So that could be another reason to start in a particular spot. And come down the calf. Okay. Camille asks, what do you think of quick drawing people in the street as a form of practice? I think it's, you know, for observational drawing, Camille, I think it's a great idea. What I would suggest, and what I know a lot of people do, is you know, to go to like a coffee shop and just find, you know, a quiet corner kind of thing, and sketch the people around you, or, you know, people in line, that type of thing. There's a lot of value to that. Not a lot of character designers that do that type of thing. You know, when you want to kind of really get a sense of people not kind of putting on an act. Do you know what I mean? Deltoid coming up this way. And then we've got the trapezius coming in here. But yeah, good practice. Go and do that. And I'm not going to go overboard with these fingers, but she does have kind of a nice, you know, splay. But I'm going to avoid, we've discussed this many times, but I'm going to reiterate. On our model, she's doing this, right, with her hand. Connect the two middle fingers, or connect some port, don't do that because then it's Spock. Connect something. You could even connect those three, leave one. Avoid this. It gets visually really, really busy. Unless your character or your subject is specifically going, you know, 5 or 3 or 2 or whatever it might be, you know. Avoid splayed fingers. They will, what will happen is, it will just be a complete distraction unless they're part of the narrative in a really in a meaningful way. That's quieter, it's easier to read, and then we're not focusing all on the hand, right? Okay, I really should just resolve this head a little. I'm not going to get into it too much, but yeah, her hair is really quite dramatically coming across her face here and down. Something like that. That'll do us. All right, let's just hit a couple of these ideas. I'm tempted to just leave this and not get into a light and tone pass on it. We've got 15 minutes, and I think it's enough time on this pose. Yeah. Yeah, bit of an odd pose, but I like it. It's got some dynamics to it. Okay. Richard in chat. Lulu, how you doing? Day's doing well so far, thank you. Cool, all right, let's move on. Yeah, I'm not too thrilled with the way that came out, but yeah, what are you gonna do? First drawing, it's Monday. Give ourselves a pass. All right, next pose. Okay, we've got our first down view. This should be interesting. But it's a relatively quiet pose, relatively. It's gonna have its, you know, few challenges, but at least it's not too crazy. Let's do another 15, huh? All right. Shoulders. I'm going to find the spine. We've got this kind of idea going on. Somewhere in here. Noah says, how to use white charcoal. It's not something I have done in a long, long time using white. That's getting into a whole kind of thing. Well, first of all, you want to be using it on toned paper, right? Then you have to decide, are you still doing like a charcoal drawing and using the white as a highlighter? Or do you want to just do the whole drawing in white? There's a number of kind of things that you need to consider for that. Doesn't really, I don't do those types of drawings very often at all. In fact, it's a long time since I've done any. Maybe at some point I'll get back to toned paper. That's kind of the, you see, I'm somewhat, you know, very into working with the charcoal and newsprint, and the toned paper doesn't really come in that variety. So, all right, I think I'm probably oblique, rib cage. Maybe I'm okay. Let's find our scapula. It's going to be sitting about here. Once again, this side we can't see because of her hair, but we're going to draw it anyway. So yeah, if we go from, I just want to make sure I got everything kind of measurement-wise down. Okay, oblique, rib cage coming up this way, up to what would be the pit of the arm there, all obscured by hair, but I think that'll do it. This leg going away from us. Once again, we are looking down on our subject, right? Kind of sitting in here. You see the heel of her foot there. Then this leg, very, very foreshortened. Kind of the thigh or the hamstring. It's kind of sitting in here. Knee is about there. And then we've got the calf coming down this way. Right, and then this foot sitting about here. Head of the humerus is about here, give or take. This arm coming back. And if we weren't at such a high vantage point, this arm would be coming towards us. Kind of got that kind of energy going with it. Forearm coming out this way. Deltoid sitting in there. Roughly there. So trapezius occipital ridge will be about there. Once again, all obscured, but we want to know where it is. And then this head is sitting something like that. Her hair coming down, something in here, and then coming around this way. More hair coming across here. I'm still struggling with proportions. Always draw the torso too long and the legs too short. Well, at least the great thing about that is you're able to kind of problems that you're able to see what it is that's the issue, right? So that's kind of like honestly, that's the first hurdle, is being able to make an analysis of what's going on with your drawing and locating kind of where the issue is. So I would say, let me finish this drawing and we'll talk about proportion real quickly. But here's the thing, you know my feelings about measurement, or maybe you don't. I believe in measurement. I don't believe in sight size form of measurement, at least not for me. I don't appreciate it. I'm into relative measurement, because the thing is with proportion, as soon as you get a foreshortened pose, all those concepts kind of go out the window, in my mind. I think there's a smarter way to measure, which, as I said, is more about relative proportion. Where is something in space relative to something else on the subject? Okay. She is standing on a box, or she's crouching on this box. Let's pop it in as a frame of reference here. So we're looking, you can get more of a sense of how we're kind of looking down at our subject. Sitting somewhere in here. Something like that. That's enough, that kind of sets the ground plane. It gives you a sense of, okay, if we had vanishing points, where our vanishing points are, and even just following the lines of this box, right? If we talk about vanishing points real quickly, if I continued this line up here, and I continued this line up here till those two lines converged, that would give us our vanishing point. As you can see, that tells us quite handily that the vanishing point is above her headline, right? More hair. Yeah, she's got quite a head of hair, in fairness. Yeah, Jeffrey, I think you're right. Proportion will come with time and pencil mileage. Repetition, at least. Honestly, you've already kind of got a sense of what's wrong. So next time, try and, when you're building out your torso and your legs, try and make that adjustment. Remind yourself, this is where I get stuck, right? This is a trap. I tend to draw the legs too long or the body too long, whichever it might be, and say, okay, this time I'm going to push the other way. You might go too far, and then you might go, okay, now this is too long or whatever. But you're making an analysis with each drawing. You're problem solving, and that's really the goal. Okay. Sometimes there really is no substitute than just doing, Get those, well, I was going to say get those bad drawings behind you, The reality is, though, at least in my experience. No matter how good you get, the bad drawings are going to reveal themselves every now and then anyway. Because drawing is hard. And bad drawing happens to the best of us. But what we can do is hopefully at least reduce the amount of bad drawing, or at least hedge our bets in getting something that's, you know, serviceable. Okay, so we've gone down to the oblique. Coming down to the connection there. I'm just going to jump across. I'm actually going to jump across to the oblique on the other side, just because it is our transition from our upper torso to our lower, or our lower torso to our upper torso. Okay, so we got going from the sacrum here. And then we'll come around the gluteus. Something like so. Then we got a little bit of knee business. Then we'll come down into the calf. Something like that. All of this is in super shadow, so it's hard to get a read. Okay, Achilles tendon. Okay. Yeah, I agree, Lulu. She's you know what's interesting is you get models who just seem to have a great awareness of how their form fits in space, if that makes sense. She seems to really have a sense for that. she also seems to understand, you know, the drama of the pose, let's say. Yeah, okay, where are we at? 15. You know, I'm gonna do a little core shadow pass on this one. Let's get in a little bit of business, huh? Now, actually, this is really tricky. The light source on this one. I'm going to ignore it. I'm creating my own. Let's use conceptual light, because it's just going to be too busy. Light's coming from that direction in my model. Okay, so okay, so this is here, heel, all in shadow. Okay. And he says, well, I remember, can we draw a plus-size dude in any future session? We absolutely, we can. I'll tell you, Emmy, one of my challenges, and I do have such a subject that we've drawn in the past, but you wouldn't believe the challenge I have on finding what I would consider, you know, non-athletic, just regular people, so to speak. The companies that provide the reference, and I know there's many, and I don't have access, I only have access to a couple that I can actually use on the stream. The problem is they tend to favor, and it's probably because of what sells, they tend to favor athletic, very, as you would imagine, kind of like our subject today kind of models. I have a really hard time finding overweight and older subjects. I would love to be drawing, not that we don't, we certainly have in the past, but I would love to be drawing a lot more older subjects. People that have some battle scars, do you know what I mean? I find those types of models just as interesting to draw, sometimes more interesting to draw than the super athletic, you know, magazine kind of models, you know. But trust me, it's not something that I'm not aware of. Point being is, I have a male model. We've used him a couple of times before. I only have one, what I would say, for want of a better term, heavy set male. And to be honest with you, even the model pack that I have for him, I'm not crazy about. Like, it's fine. But yeah, it's such a shame. I wish there was more available that I could use. Even like heavier set female models are much harder to come by. I have a couple in the kind of rotation. But yeah, to challenge. But it's been a while since we drew the guy that I have. I'll pull him out. We can do a session. Because it's good practice. And the reality is, you know, humans come in all shapes and sizes. And yet, the model companies would have you believe that that's not the case. Okay. I'll just do a quick blend. Now that's funny, Emmy, because I actually found that working from live models, I was able to find a lot more variety than working from reference packs. Like I could go into London tonight and find models that, or work with models that fit the parameters of what we're discussing. All right. I think I'll leave that there. Thank you, Margot. Giving people the heads up. Yeah, got some interesting poses today, Margot. And I think what I like about them, as I was saying, is just, while, you know, the model is, well, she's great, but, you know, what I really like about this pack is these angles. All right, that's 23 minutes, good Lord. Lulu, main reason I didn't get into live drawing sessions was because the models were old and out of shape, which no doubt was a delight for the hardcore painters there. Yeah, you know, I think, well, I don't know when that was, Lulu, but I think that you'd, you know, I think, wasn't it you? It might have been Aishin, I forget, but one of you saying like you weren't really drawing males until these sessions, and that they brought, you know, a lot to the kind of conversation, so to speak. Yeah, look, it's good to draw all types. You know, the thing is, even if all you're going to do is do comic book work and draw superheroes, you're going to get so much, you're going to learn so much about the craft working with variety. All right, next pose. Love this pose. So rhythmical. Obviously, for those of you who have the reference, this is a lying down pose. So we're going to go into landscape mode here. Sorry, I'm just adjusting things slightly so this is straight on camera. All right. Yeah, I wonder what happened to Aishin. Aishin just disappeared. Anyway, that's life, isn't it? All right, next pose. Volvo says, I was going to try to use the reference to draw horses in the same pose with the timer to work on my pose invention. Anatomical knowledge, but something else came up. Good luck, Margot. Have a nice trip. Yes, well, that is the one good advantage about having athletic models for sure, is the anatomical markers are all very clear, you know. All right, let's reset the clock. We're one pencil down. Let's move on to the next. What do we got here? Cool. All right. I think this is probably a 20-minute pose, isn't it? Maybe even a tiny bit longer. Let's see. Let's aim for around 20. Let's see what happens. Okay, let me reset the clock. Let's do this. Okay. As is usual with these types of poses, I want to make sure I get everything on. Shoulder line is going to be about there, so there's going to be a lot of kind of just chicken scratch while I just basically get the large ideas on the page. Once again, we're kind of looking down on our subject, so there's no supporting arm or anything like that. It's a lovely angle. And I love this transition into the lower torso and then into the leg. Hopefully we can do that justice. Let's see. So the turn of the form is about here, right? So sacrum is here. I know I'm working super lightly right now. I think that that's necessary, so I don't end up with a huge mess, which I'll probably end up with anyway. Then we got beautiful shape to this leg coming down this way. Obviously it's going away from us. Sitting in there. Calf starting around here, and then this leg going down this way. And then we're coming down to our foot. It's going to be sitting here. No, I don't want to get into too much detail with this stuff right just yet, but okay, give or take, that will do for now. And then this other leg going around this way. revealing itself here. Knee sitting about there. Ankles about there. Calf sitting about there. So when you see the leg, like for example the lower part of the calf here, and obviously the foot, ask yourself, where does that join up here? Don't let it be a solitary kind of idea down here. Let it be something that, even though we can't see it, has started its journey from up here and coming down, right? We don't want to get, you know, obsessive with drawing through the form, but understanding where things are relative to each other is super important. Okay. So oblique is sitting here. Excuse me. Yeah, we know our rib cage is sitting about there. Oh, I was going to talk about proportions, wasn't I? All right, after this pose. Okay, elbows about here. Deltoid coming up, meeting up with the clavicle. Occipital ridge is about there. Scapula is sitting in this region here. And on this side, scapula's about here. Ear is about there. All right, I think we're in the ballpark. This arm. All right. It is an odd angle. You are right, Lulu. That's why I picked it. I think most of tonight's poses have a little oddness in their angle. All right. I'm going to go with that for now. Still lots of business to take care of here. All right, where do I want to start? I'm going to start along this section because I think it's, to some degree, going to tell me the most. So we'll start with the iliac crest right here, and we'll get this oblique in. And we can work our way up the form. Oh, I need a decent angle on this. I'm going to have to come from this direction. Cool. All right. Now, before I go down the leg, I actually want to get this, seal the deal on this idea. Okay. Something like that. Okay. Now, distance, volume, mass, let's see. I think that this is about here. Just a hairline in from my original. And then coming in oblique. Something like that. Then we're coming through the form this way. Okay. Interesting how the lines connecting the glutes to the quads to calf draw the eyes down the form. Yeah, absolutely. No, so, you know, when I see shape language like what's going on, you know, in this area here, Jeffrey, like which you were just discussing, that whole kind of journey, that kind of, when I see that in reference, I'm like, yeah, of course we're drawing that. Because it's just like, it's just such fun design language. And, you know, lots of nice opportunities. Yeah, yeah, I agree. You're correct. Okay, so I'm going to come down here now, and I want to get this ankle. Down like something like that. Then we can come down into the foot. And obviously we got toes sitting in there. We will do those. But for right now, some more important things to be done. Okay, let's get the calf sitting in here. Like, you know, there's no getting away from the fact there's just a lot to draw, you know, just kind of got to keep chipping away. Yeah, we don't really have any, like we could obviously draw in the disc, just reading your comment, Jeffrey, sleeping quietly on a cloud, which is fine, right? But yeah, we don't really have any, at least in the reference, anything that helps us orientate the perspective. Now I could potentially invent something to pop in there. You know, that's something that would suggest kind of the plane, but I think it's okay. Let's see. Might be a case of, you know, just even like a cast shadow or something of her form on the surface might be enough. Anyway, I feel like there's enough to kind of keep us challenged for right now. OS crashed. What did I miss? Nothing, Lulu. Really. Nothing crazy. Luckily. Just drawing, chipping away. Okay. Fisa? Is that, am I saying that right? Fisa? Apologies if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Can I ask how many years experience you have? You're very good. Yeah, like I've been drawing not necessarily figurative work. I've been drawing though pretty much my whole adult life, but working in animation. And for a long time, the figurative stuff was kind of just, you know, something on the side. How long have I been doing figure drawing? Since the early 2000s. But there was, as I said, there was 15 odd years of profession drawing every day for a living before that as well. But but I don't want you to take that as kind of a, oh, this is how long it takes. I don't believe it does. I think you can, well, it's like anything, isn't it? I think learning is so layered. But thank you for the kind words. It's appreciated. Thanks, Lula. You just wrecked it. Hola, Elma. Buenas tardes. Okay. So now we want to kind of think about, we kind of got the large ideas down here. What is it that we want to say with this pose? Got to be careful. Don't want to wreck it. But I do need to make a decision. What am I going to do here exactly? Or I can just leave it as is. So here's the thing. coming to your point, Jeffrey, about her sleeping on a cloud. Well, if she was on a cloud, which, God, what's the name of the artist I used to know? It's out of my mind now. There was some famous Renaissance artist that would draw the reflected light in the shadows very, very light. Like there was almost no difference between what was in light and what was in shadow, because obviously all the bounce light coming off the white clouds and reflecting into the shadow side of the form. So, you know, you could even make an argument for the light and tone on a drawing like this. You could really kind of lean into that idea. You know, very few hardcore shadows. And really get the sense of the bounce light coming off the cloud. So you just put like the slightest bit of tone in here. Way less than we would normally, right? God, I wish I could remember the name of the artist I'm thinking of. Anyway, you get the idea. And then this way, she can be sleeping on that cloud. I'm going to leave it there, I think. I might end up working this further off camera, because I think that what it requires is it does require a little more put into the light and tone pass, but it's something I'd want to be really kind of slow and build my way up very, very slowly on it to not do anything too aggressive. And I think that will put most of you to sleep, and it'll also require probably about another 30 minutes. So I think I'm going to, bar a quick blend, going to leave it there for now on this one. And maybe I'll come back to it at some point. Okay, let's leave her sleeping on the cloud. Thank you, Elise, appreciate it. You did that foot justice, barely. You get the idea. You know, why did you have to mention the foot? Let's at least get in the separation for the toe. All right, good enough. Yeah, you could really punch up the idea. Sorry, I know I'm going back now, but you could really punch up the idea of that reflected light, like, you know, like that cloud concept. Just darken up in this area just ever so slightly, so this feels really illuminated. Yeah, I've been a little bit lazy about light and tone here, but as I said, I think it's an all or nothing thing, and I'm not prepared to go into it. Okay, done. Now, where are we at? 6:15. Okay. Next pose. So we are going to be drawing this model again probably next week. I don't know how many of you buy reference packs or whatever, and I don't usually on this channel, I don't hawk product, right? Even though I am a Grafit Studio affiliate, and you will get a discount. There's a discount code in the description. Point being is this set just came out, I think, in the last few days. It's 1,800 poses. All of the quality, to some degree or another, of what we've been working with today so far. It's an incredibly impressive reference pack. If you want a one-stop shop for, you know, semi-athletic female in numerous poses, you could do a lot worse than picking up this reference pack. It's really something. So there you go, just throwing it out there. 1,800 poses, yeah. I actually, it's one of the few times I didn't download the whole pack. It was like 10 gigs or something. I was like, there's no way I'm putting that. So anyway, you still have reference with Grafit out to their online server of it. And you can select which references you want to download, or you can just download them all. But okay, so the next pose, another, we'll call it a 3/4 down view. It's a little more severe than the second pose that we did. It's even further, a bit more down. Should be a fun pose to do. I don't think it's going to be. It's probably a 15-minute pose. Let me just see what else we have here. I think we could afford to do maybe a 15 on this one, and then we'll hit a couple of 10s at the end. How does that sound? By the way, for those of you lurkers, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, it'd be much appreciated. Thank you. Jeffrey, yeah, look, I think Grafit, my one gripe, I'd like to see a little bit more variety in models, Grafit Studio, if you're listening. But the reference packs they put out are fantastic. They really are. Super high quality photography, great lighting, great quality of model, always great pose packs. They do a good job. They really do. I just would like to see some older people and some heavier people, some variety. Not everyone is an Olympian. But look, I get it, right? They need to sell product. Okay, let me. There's the clock. What did I say? 15? Yeah, let's do a 15 here. No. At least I don't think I was. That was 1,800 images T2. 1,800 images. The ones that I was looking at, they're about 6 megabytes, 7 megabytes a piece. Because I scale them down, believe it or not. I know that the quality is still really good. But I scale all of their reference down. If you know the stuff that's on my website, I scale it down to 1,000 pixels high. Their images are routinely 6,000 pixels. I'm guessing it's like, well, I don't know. I would be guessing. I'm going to say it's like 20 megapixel, maybe, given that file size. This is going to all need refining a little, as you can tell. But, so here, because of the angle that we're looking at, look at the way that, like, the iliac crest is really kind of sitting about here. And I think our rib cage is about here. I remember those days where downloading anything was just an exercise in patience. So this, because of this foreshortening, if I look at where this leg is, and I'm relatively happy where this stuff is, we'll talk about relative measurement, right? I'm just going to use this as my yardstick. The head of that humerus is probably about here. So I've way overestimated because of the foreshortening. Once again, we can't really see it. Deltoid tricep. Occipital ridge is probably about there. I'm just going to keep this all real loose for now while I just kind of... Now once again we can't see it because of the hair, but we do want to know. His shoulder's probably about here. Sitting about here. This pose is deceiving. It's much more involved than you would think at first. That's first sight. Pull that down, I think. Would help. This is one of those situations where it would really help to be able to see without the hair in the way. Having to make some serious adjustments here, guys. Such an interesting challenge, right? It's exactly why I picked this pose. Well, you know, it's going to make us earn it. Pressing there. We can see the ribs coming around the form this way. And we're going to resist the temptation of showing that too much. Something like that. But this is actually about here. Calf going back this way, and this other leg sitting about here, going away from us, coming around, and then this foot sitting about here. Crazy. A big band of hair coming down this way. Okay. Tough pose. And then, oh God, I've got her hand here. Talk about blindness. We just have this, we do have this hand sitting right here, which I completely didn't see. Wow. I'm going to group fingers here once again. Something like that. You can see a bit of that forearm going off that way. Okay. I'm gonna have to get cracking here. Let's draw. Alright, let's get these fingers. Right, probably not a bad thing to get that in first. Take care, Jaeger. Any chance of doing the leg, knee, arm anatomy you offered earlier? Yeah, we did talk about that, didn't we? And I kind of flaked on it the last time. Well, not flaked, I think it was a particularly challenging session. Yeah. Like, do you have, like, you know, I'm just just curious. Leg, knee, and arm anatomy. Like, that covers a lot of ground, right, Stephen? And there's no way we're covering all of that in one session, if you know what I mean. So do you have anything like kind of specific that you'd like me to give you my thoughts on? Because that could help kind of zoom in on an idea. If not, don't worry about it. I'm just curious. Okay, let's find this passage. Well, it's kind of interesting because we got, this is the back. Coming up this way. What we can see here is actually the buttock kind of coming across sacrum and then coming to the other glute right there. So the sacrum is kind of sitting right in that area there, if that makes sense. Hopefully that will read. Oh, Elise, I struggle all the time. There's always some days, you know, some poses more than others, and some days more than others. But yeah, like, the thing is, you know, I've said it before, but the reality is all your drawing heroes struggle. The thing is, you don't see that stuff. All you see, generally speaking, is kind of like the finished result. Gee, this is too long. This is about here. Tops, maybe even shorter. I think I've drawn too long with that line. All right, it's fine. We'll fix it. The reality is, you know, we're all presented with challenges that kind of push us. And if we're not, well, then you could argue we're doing something wrong. And I specifically picked these poses to be a challenge for us, for you as well as me. Yeah, look, this is the one thing with live streaming and drawing. The potential to fail spectacularly live is ever present. But you know what? Maybe, hopefully it does keep it real for people. Right? So now right here we have the bump of the clavicle and then the trapezius sitting in there. It's lovely. And coming down, the tricep is revealing itself right there. And we just get just a tiny glimpse right there of the side of the breast. Very easy to miss. Very tricky pose. Okay, what else is there I want to say here? This little part of the hand we can see on the subject on this side, what would be her left hand, just peeking out right there. I'm leaving it off. I don't think it really adds to the conversation. It's just going to make things messy, if that makes sense. It's not for, you know, it's not that I'm trying to avoid drawing it or anything like that. Just sometimes you got to make choices like that. That tells you something about the orientation when that leg is up there and it's actually sitting on the flat surface, right? Sakala, awesome, dude. Glad to hear it. That's great. Cool. Alrighty, let's keep going here. What else do we want to say with this drawing? I guess that's the first thing to ask ourselves. I think we can probably do a little bit more with it. Maybe a bit of light and tone. Although I said 15 for this, didn't I? I did. You know what? We're not going to have time for light and tone on this one. Maybe it's homework. Just try and break up this hair shape just a little bit. Actually, I think that might just do it. Yeah. Finito. Okay. Lots of homework from today's class. Yeah. Lots of unfinished ideas. All right. So that is that. We are going to move to a 10-minute pose. It's going to be a strict 10. Once again though, look at the shapes. So many amazing ideas. Her torso, if I draw it like that, you're going to say you've drawn her torso too long. Uh-huh. What are we going to do? We're going to draw it. It's going to look too long. Okay. This next one's the best pose, hands down, Lulu, or the last one? I enjoyed the last one. Tough though. All of these down view ones are difficult. That's what I was saying earlier before I interrupted myself. So next week we're going to draw this model again, continuing our exploration of some of these more unconventional angles, so to speak. Okay? I think Thursday session we'll do something a little bit more, you know, regular. Probably a male model, be my guess. All right. Oh, I can't stand this song. Took me way too long to realize. Excuse me. Okay. 10 minutes. Then we may have to knock down to 7 minutes for the last pose. Let's see. That right leg, supporting leg, is really doing something nice. This leg kind of coming out this way. Her upper torso is kind of coming towards us ever so slightly. And then her lower torso is going away from us ever so slightly, right? Like mid-rib cage seems to be the point that's closest to us. What a fascinating model. She's really superb. Okay, manubrium. She's got such defined oblique and then coming down this way down to the pubic bone there. She's a lot more athletic than you might think just at first glance. Really, really interesting. Like if you look at like from the oblique coming down the gluteus, like look at that. Coming down and then into the muscle of the leg here. You can see that sartorius cut down the form here, slightly less on this side. But you can it's really super evident coming down. Boom. This is a 10-minute pose, Richard. Relax. Get it together. Draw. Yeah, great, Lulu. Visual ASMR. Yeah. AA. If you become a member, you can find a link to the reference that we draw from in the membership chat. There should be a join button below the description of the video. We are coming to the end on this session though, just FYI. But past streams, or at least a good few of them, are available depending on your membership tier. If you're a serious student, you'll have access to every single live stream and every single reference pack we've used since the beginning. Which is 120 something streams ago. So no shortage for those that want to go on a figure drawing bender. Tibia coming down. Something like that. Okay, let's just pop in a few ideas here. We're not going to have time to really do everything justice here, but we'll hit some of the large ideas. Yeah, I look forward to working with this model again. I think that it'll be good. I'll pick a completely different set of poses, obviously, but there'll be some challenges. You're welcome. I said 10, didn't I? Okay. Let's get in some of these leg ideas because they're so much fun. Pose time. Actually, I don't mind that being slightly unfinished. Cool, that was fun. All right, last pose, guys. Let's do it. 7-minute pose, and that will bring us to the top of the hour. That sounds like a good place to stop. All right, once again, another down view. Told you. All right, let's do it. 7 minutes. This time, kind of a, what is this, a standing pose? Get some serious foreshortening going on. You can see the chromium process sitting about here. It kind of helps give us that kind of top shelf to the trapezius there, right? It's interesting. You can see the clavicle kind of peeking through here. And then you can see the pectoral. The breast is something about there. Fascinating. And then the scapula sitting in here. Ah. A lot to do in a short amount of time. I think if we can just try and grab the overall idea of this one, I'll be happy. Hair in a bun, something like that. This little arm is an odd one. Wrist is coming to about here. Hand going out, something like that. You know, the time would suggest it's a 7-minute pose would suggest it's more of bordering into gesture, but there's just too much. There's too much drawing. But you know what? That's the overall large idea of the pose. And so it's going to have to do. All right, folks. That was a good workout. I think you will agree. I hope you enjoyed that. We will be back. Hopefully I'll be back Thursday at the same time, and I hope you'll join me. Different model, different poses. See what I'm in the mood for. We may give ourselves a challenge. I think it'll probably be slightly more conventional poses. Because these were definitely, from a perspective point of view, these were, you know, quite challenging. I hope you enjoyed that. If you wouldn't mind, hit the like button on your way out the door if you enjoyed it. And I will see you all on Thursday. All right? In the meantime, take care of yourselves. Cheers. Bye.